Hey everybody, can you see me from there? I've been real busy lately, busier than normal. I know I always complain and say that I'm busy all the time, but I've had some really bad, rough things going on lately. This will probably be another short video. If you've noticed, the last three have been pretty short, but you know, if you want to think about it in a way, I guess short videos are better than no videos. If you like watching me. Anyway, and I had time today to get out and get away a little bit, and this will be a short video on something that a friend of mine and I was talking about, and I couldn't hardly explain it, but it's a method for, you know, if it's rained a lot and the ground's muddy, or maybe even if there's like some snow or some frost on the ground, that sometimes you have to build up for a fire. You have to build up layers, because sometimes when you build, whenever you, I don't know, I can't explain it. Some of you may have experienced it, but if you'll build a fire on muddy, wet ground or moist ground, when the fire gets going, as it starts to heat up, it draws the moisture out of the ground. And if it's not a real good high quality fire with a lot of wood, there's a potential it could go out. But anyway, this is kind of a cool method. I thought I'd show it real quick. And it's a very, very windy day. So this is going to be the first video that I've ever done start to finish, the entire video with my cordless mic. So, because I want to see some of the other videos, it picked up wind noise, and that doesn't sound good. The quality's not there. So, you know, what I'm going to do is we're going to do the whole thing with a cordless mic. Okay, so I'm going to go down here into the lowlands down here, down in the hill, and get rid of some of this gear, and then I'm going to show you what all you need to look for to do this fire. Okay, this right here looks like a pretty good spot to get started on. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take some of this stuff off right here and set it down, and then we're going to look around for some wood. What you need is you need some old dry wood that's not necessarily laying on the ground. What you need, hope this ain't affecting the microphone. What you need is some wood that is off the ground, so that even if it rained, air can get under it. Like if everything's wet and everything's real moist, like it's not that big of an issue. And you need some that's a good chopping size wood. There's some right there that'll work pretty good. Let me spin you around right here. See if I can move this thing. Right there. Right there's a good piece because it's right off the ground. Okay, so I'm going to start chopping some of the limbs off of it. Alright, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to whack all the limbs off, and then I'm going to cut off a piece that's maybe about 4 to 5 feet, because that's what I'm going to need. Whoop! That could have been bad. Alright. See the end of that wood? It was down on the ground, but it ain't completely rotten. It's still kind of white. Okay? Another thing you want to look for is before you start this little ordeal, is you want to see, let me put this up and get the knife out. You want to see if it'll make feathers of some kind. Some wood does and some doesn't. Okay. See if I got your camera right here. Let's see what this will do. All right. This looks like this will. Some wood shaves up into feathers and some doesn't. So if this does, you're good to go, okay? Now, if you saw that, I don't know if the camera picked it up or not, but if you saw my machete glance, that is because I was chopping at a knot. And that's something stupid. I don't normally do that, but I think it was good for you to see that, because knots and little nubbies where you cut branches off, those can cause your machete or your axe to glare off. Now, I generally keep my feet away from it, but that's just something to pay attention to. Try not to be chopping anywhere where there's knots, okay? So, we're gonna go over here where I got like a little homemade looking chopping block, and we're gonna chop on there, chop this into sections of probably about 1 foot long each. It's gonna be a good test for the old cordless microphone, because the wind's blowing like crazy, and it used to be I wouldn't film in this kind of weather because it ruins the audio. And whenever you walk away from the camera, it screws everything up. So I guess I'll find out if I have a video or not. All right, now what I want to do is I want to cut this in about like 1 foot pieces here. Okay. One hit usually take care of it. So until I get on up there where it's thicker. There it goes. Get another one. Starting to get kind of thicker. There we go. All right. A saw's easier, but a machete's more fun. See, basically, you can get by, if you've got a well-aimed lick, you can get 2 of them in. That didn't turn out too good. I think the bottom of this log here is kind of rotten. We'll go with that one. Let's go with this one. This is going to take a lot more chopping. I love chopping. I know everybody else does. All right. There we go. All right. Now, you want to take one and you want to cut it into 4 pieces. Okay? Well, actually 2. Well, no, thirds actually. That shouldn't have done that. You don't want it doing that. You want it cutting right in half. Sometimes knots will cause that to happen. There, well that didn't work good. I'll set that into the side. See, this stuff's pretty knotted up. Let me grab that other piece. Wait a minute. This will work. Because you need some that's in split into pieces. Alright, we got some split into pieces here, because solid round pieces don't catch on fire as good as split pieces, because the split pieces have the sharp edges. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. That's got a bunch of knots. Let's try this one. Let's just go crazy with it. Everybody loves splitting. Alright. We're getting somewhere now. Split one more. Now the main piece, this is called the stab stick fire. The main piece you'll want to leave in half, just like this. And you want to sharpen the bottom of it so that it'll stab in the ground. Okay, now that's the basis for it right there. Put this up. Alright, the basis for this thing is, the reason it's called a stab stick is because it's got a sharp end and it's flat and you stab it in the ground. Okay, so let's take it over there and I'm going to clear out a little flat spot where there's leaves, and I got to find a flat rock. You don't have to have a flat rock. Never mind, I'm not even going to use a rock. I'm just going to use the ground, okay? That's a different story. Now, I don't know if you can tell or not, but just looking down through here as I'm panning around, everything is going downhill. And so what you want to do is, on a windy day like this, you want to try to have your fire as far downhill as you can, okay? Preferably behind a little slope. Not real sure if it makes a difference or not, but that's what I like to do. Man, I don't know if you can pick that wind up or not, but it is bad. It is real bad. Today's a bad day to have a fire, but I'm going to have one anyway because it's the only day I can get out. But anyway, because I miss y'all so bad. All right, I'm going to have it down here. And you don't normally have to have rocks, but for the sake of the video, I think I'm going to put some rocks on the uphill side and have the fire down lower. Okay, normally when the wind's not this bad, you don't have to do things like this. Now, having a fire like this, down like this, is a good thing, but this isn't where you want to set up your bivvy or your hammock or whatever, because the lower the elevation that you're at, the colder it's going to be. You want to kind of go up to the higher elevations if you can. But anyway, the idea behind this video is the fire. So we're going to be dealing with the fire on this one. But anyway, I'll get the camera down real low, and I'm gonna set up that rock wall behind me, and it has nothing to do with this fire other than to help block the wind, which I believe it feels like the wind's coming from that direction. The old trick, put your finger up, hold it up. You've seen people do that. And what you can do is, whenever your finger feels the coldest, then that's the direction that the wind's blowing from. It's coming from that direction right there. Try that sometime whenever you're out and see which way the wind's blowing, and you can actually, if you just pay attention to your senses and wet your finger down, you can actually feel it getting colder as it's coming to you. Like in the winter time, it don't work as good in the summer, but it works great in the winter. Man, there's stuff falling out of the trees here. It's bad. Pretty much for the purposes of this video, I'm using these rocks right here. Normally, you wouldn't need these for this type of fire. But I'm gonna pile some rocks up right here. And maybe that'll give me a little spot here to work with. Keep the wind away from me. I guess this is a good video too, because I've had so many friends complaining, saying that it's almost impossible to start a fire out here when the conditions are like this. And they are pretty dang bad. I'm gonna go gather up as many rocks as I can, and then I'm gonna get a stick and I'm gonna clear some of these leaves out right here. The ground is very, very muddy right here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go and I'm gonna gather up some more rocks from around here and build a neat little wall, and then we'll get started. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna clear some of these leaves out down to ground. Okay, get these out of the way. A lot of people don't clear leaves out of the way good enough. Some of these on the top here are kind of dry, but you know, if you get them back a little ways, you can obviously see that the ground is very extremely muddy. And sometimes I'll take a few of these old leaves right here and stack them up, some of these dry ones off the top of the ground, and that's what I'll put my knee on. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take that stick that I sharpened, and I'll take, it's got a weathered, more of a weathered side and a less weathered side, and what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to take and I'm going to stab it in the ground right here. at an angle, okay? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the camera down real low to where you can see it, but you've got it, the wind is coming this way, and I've got the stick, half the stick stabbed in the ground, aimed towards the rocks, okay? So I'll bring you down low where you can really see what I'm doing better. From right here it looks funny, you can't tell at what angle it's at, okay? So what you do now is once you've got that stick stabbed in the ground, okay, you just want to make half the stick into feathers. I hope you can see it. And you want to stop about 1 inch from the ground. Okay, now whatever feathers fall, it's not big a deal. Did you just hear that big old branch behind me fall? And when this wood, it's got hard spots and it's got soft spots. And there's a hard spot right there, which is bad. It's making the feathers come off. But, you know, I didn't want to be dishonest and pre-plan this by bringing some good wood that would feather. I wanted to be able to find it out here in the woods. Okay, now you can see what I'm doing here. I'm feathering as best as I can. I think I'm going to cut the camera off and give you even another angle of it before I light the ferro rod so that you can, maybe you can see what I'm doing here. But you want to take this stick and you want to cut half of it into shavings. All right, I'm going to move the camera. Well, actually, I'm going to finish cutting on this, and then I'm going to move the camera over to the sides where you can get a better view. All right, you kind of get the idea now. What I've done, and see how some of these are coming off? That's because this wood has hard spots and soft spots. Okay? And there's a knot right here that's bad. Well, once you got all them done, then what you want to start doing is try to have some fine shavings here. Some of them's going to jump off and hit the ground. Now, if you're careful and you choose the right wood, you can have feathers so big that none of them will hit the ground. This wood's got hard spots and soft spots. Do a little bit more right here. Alright, I'm going to pick some of these up and set them right here, which may or may not be a good idea. A lot of them are falling off. Alright. Now normally most people, when they use a ferro rod, they think of dry grass, dead grass. But a lot of times out here in the deep woods, there isn't any grass. You'd have to find a clearing to get some good grass. And a lot of times the grass is wet. So anyway, all right, what I'm gonna do there is, now I get some of this split wood ready. Because like I say, the split wood's got all these sharp edges on them, and the sharp edges tend to catch a lot better. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stage all that. And I am actually not happy. Let's see, here's another one. I am actually not very happy with my wood, so I'm going to get this rock. No, I'm going to put it over here. Can you see that? All right. I'm going to split a couple more of these before I break out the old ferro rod. Hope I don't knock my stuff everywhere. Well, this stuff just ain't splitting real good, but whatever, it's real life, that's the way it is. Alright, I got a few small pieces here. I'll lay them up here. This is also a good way of laying wood up for having it a place to dry. You can put it behind the fire. I hate having a fire in these windy conditions like this, but I am today, just to kind of show you. I should have named this video, instead of calling it the stab stick fire, I should have called it the high wind fire. But honestly, I don't promote anyone have fire in high winds. I don't think it's a good idea. You need to find other ways of staying warm. Alright, this is good enough. I think I'm sick of doing this. I got small pieces, I got big pieces. Now it's time to break out the old ferro rod, if I remember to bring it. This is one of those Godzilla ferro rods, those big 1/2 inch by 6 inch. And then the striker, a lot of people will sharpen the back of their blades, but I'm not a big fan of that because I put my thumb back there a lot. You can do it if you want to. The more Bushcraft Black comes that way. But like I said, I'm just not a big fan of that. And another thing too that I want to say is when you're using the back of a knife, you have a bigger object to bump into all of your tender, okay? If you're using some kind of striker, but the strikers you buy leave much to be desired. So what I do is I got an old broken machete and I cut it up into little pieces, and then I put a plastic handle on it and covered it in Cordura, and that's what I use, okay? So let's see what we can do here now if I can get this thing going. Let me make sure, let me move the viewfinder. All right, let's see if we can get this going. I kind of got it going, but the wind's blowing it out. Okay, this is what you want to do now, is you want to start leaning these against it. The wind may put it out. You want to carefully start leaning all these split sticks up. Woo! Just like that. And the more shavings you have, the better the chance you have of this fire going. Now you see how good it's going? You just want to start laying all this stuff right here. And then you can take these and start laying these here. Move this out of the way. Get this rock out of the way. Alright, now, you see how that's done? Okay? No problem at all. Instead of cutting the camera off, I'm just going to move it. And you can kind of see how it's doing. And you're making like a TP fire. Now let me move the camera down a little bit here so you can see what you're doing. Well, so you can see what I'm doing. Let's see. Move it down here. Right there. Alright, you get the basic idea right there. I'm trying to be in kind of a hurry on this. And I'm going to let this sit there for a minute. But then I got to go. Oh. There's another piece. There's another piece. Alright, now that's still going on the inside right there. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to let it get roaring. I think I'm going to put it out because I wasn't planning on keeping a fire tonight. Well, I was, but I'm absolutely not right now. There's no way. I'm not going to let that keep going. Anyway, you get the basic idea of it. You start out with a feather stick, and then you start out with the smaller sticks and the bigger sticks. And then you wind up with a fire. Oh, you can still see, I think you can still see down inside there. Now you can't see it from here. May not have had enough feathers. Anyway, yeah, it's still smoking. Let me check on it. Yeah, it's still going. It's just barely going, but I don't care. I think I'm going to put it out. But anyway, you get the basic idea of it. Yeah, I came out here and did this in high winds. I don't really advise it, but that's the stab stick fire. You stab it in the ground, you make your shavings, and you try not to shave all the way down to the ground. You leave them about 1 inch up off the ground, okay? More shavings the better. Shave down about half the stick. And then have your split sticks ready. Strike it with a ferro rod, get the shavings going, put on your split sticks, and then surround it with your bigger sticks, okay? And that's basically the split stick fire. So anyway, all right, I'm gonna stomp this out and move on, because there's no way, I'm not staying here tonight. I gotta find a different place. I'm not staying here. If I can't find a place that's really protected from the wind, because all I've got is a bivy bag. That's it. I don't even have a tarp. I got a bivy bag here with a jacket. I don't ever wear a jacket when I'm hiking because it's too hot. So, all right, I'm gonna get rid of all this. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully I'm gonna have a longer video in the next one. So I will see you in the next one.